at the stick. From who's got it better than us to brick by brick. It's always the 49ers way, from off-season to game day. Yeah, we talk back. It's the 49ers Cutback.
It's 49ers Cutback Podcast time. Welcome to the 49ers game plan versus the Bengals. We're going to get into this, and we're going to try to go over what the 49ers can do to attack the Bengals and how to try to stop Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase in this impressive passing attack.
Accurate, Ant. It's very accurate. I was cheesing there because it's just so close now. It's like practically here, right? The Friday
Like
Friends.
South Park cheesing, or
No. Although that was a fantastical reference by you, sir. No, not South Park cheesing. Just cheesing because it's almost too much excitement. I almost can't contain it. I'm like Buddy when Horse comes over to record. I'm growling with excitement right now because the game is a day away. Friday Frenzy has come and gone. We got tons of exciting things to discuss and tons of ways to look at this game and what the 49ers could do. And 49ers fans enter all over the place again. A bad loss like this last one to Seattle. It really gets the fans going in terms of Trey Lance and firing Kyle Shanahan, as well as maybe getting rid of John Lynch and blowing it all up. And we had a couple people in our comment section talking about how if the Seahawks lose to the Texans, we don't deserve to go to the playoffs. We don't, because styles apparently don't make fights, and what the Seahawks do now apparently affects us in some way.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Buster Douglas' defeat of Mike Tyson clearly made Mike Tyson one of the worst fighters in the history of boxing. 100%. When you're playing Seattle, it's just a different animal. When you come to these rivalry games, things are just different. Was it a disappointing loss?
100%.
Yes. Was it a bad loss? No, because it was fixable mistakes that you can take care of that could have changed the outcome of the game. So when you're looking at it as a coach, you like when it's errors that you can fix and not just you getting completely outplayed. If you're getting completely outplayed, it means you're not on the level of the team that you're playing. I've had those situations where you play a team and you're just like, oh my gosh, they're just that much better than us.
What am I supposed to do?
They do what we do, just better. And when that happens, when they're more talented and they're just a better team than you tip your hat and you move on. That's not what happened with 49ers in Seattle. What happened in that football game was the 49ers continued to struggle to execute at times, and a lot of that was kicked off by the special team struggles. I look for the special teams to bounce back, and that is an absolute key in this football game. Can this special teams right the wrongs and the slip-ups that they've had over the last few weeks? And there's been a lot of people, including Coach Tim and some of the other ones in our comments all year long, that have had major concerns about this special teams.
Gary included.
Yeah, Gary included. Gary is a big one on special teams, 100%. They need to step up the special teams. I think Richie Hightower going in there and taking the brunt of the pressure and the criticism, he's going to put this team in a situation where they can be successful. Hopefully the return of Fred Warner adds Demetrius Flanagan-Foles. Marcel Harris will be back. We're adding some special teams aces back to the special teams, which we all know once you add special teams aces back, you get better on special teams. Hopefully, with Deebo Samuel back, Trent Sherfield can also do that as well, but you will be missing one of your supreme special teams aces in Trenton Cannon.
And I can't believe special teams aces, key pieces to your special teams, not being on special teams because they're being elevated and asked to play a bigger role with the actual team, but could then turn around and
did you just say actual team?
I mean, I did go there. I did say actual football team. Special teams players have feelings too, and I cannot apologize enough.
Of the football team there, Alex.
I cannot apologize enough for that slip of the tongue, because
especially considering you were a award-winning special teams player.
I was a special teams ace in high school, absolutely, and was recruited in college for that specific thing. That's just my brain not working properly, Ant. And you know what? Lambast me in the comment section down below because I deserve it for that one.
That was funny.
Also, thank you for putting my feet to the fire, Ant, because my kid is going to be a special teams ace. I'll say that. T. Alexander Cesania is going to be an absolutely incredible special teams ace when he's playing.
I can't wait to see that. And Jay Hill's son will be sitting on the bench cheering him on.
In his flip-flops?
Yeah, flip-flops.
Bro, if he shows up...
Flip-flops and goggles.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah.
But hey, look...
With Taj 4 standing next to him.
Taj the 4th. That's his dog. For
Yeah.
those of you who don't know, that's his golden retriever. He's a big golden retriever guy.
Yeah.
And he loves his Taj. He just had pups.
Yeah.
So that's why the fourth joke makes sense.
Yeah, and Taj is named after a beer.
Not the Taj Mahal. It is actually an alcoholic beverage. But anyway, back to the game plan and things that are important. Special teams, extremely important. Having those aces back is going to help in a big way. But as they said in Remember the Titans, right? As Julius Campbell says, attitude reflects leadership. And Hightower took the onus, right? That attitude aspect of not throwing his players under the bus, not doing any of that, and instead putting the onus on him. Hey, I got to put my guys in better spots. There's nothing they could have done there on that punt. That punt, fake punt for a touchdown, I set us up to fail. I'm not going to do that again. That makes his guys in that locker room go, hey, you know what? We could have done better, right? I could have recognized. I could have realized what happened. I could have seen that the punt didn't go back. I could have held an outside leverage or outside contain. If you're a guy on the outside, Dante Johnson, he turned in when the gunner didn't really rush it. And I could have realized, hey, something's up here, and looked, like just peeked inside and seen it, and maybe, run the guy down or make him take a different angle that could have helped Brandon Ayuk or another teammate get there to make a play. So there's a lot of things that guys can do. And when your coach doesn't put you under the bus, instead takes that onus, you want to go do it for that guy. Because you don't want that guy to have to sit there and take bullets for you. Because at the end of the day, you're the one out there executing. You're the one out there playing, right? You're the one who can impact and affect the game. And when you make mistakes, your coach holds you to the fire. But what coaches don't typically do, and especially in an organization like the 49ers and a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, when guys make mistakes, you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to sit there and pin them up there for everyone to start pelting them with criticism, right? You're going to take some of the onus. I want him to be better about that, but he did these things really well. He did this really well as well. And the game never comes down to one play. Coaches rarely ever, unless they're, not wanting to keep their job and they're Bill O'Brien, right? And they want to get fired so they can go back to New England, are doing things to put their players out there and literally throw them under the bus to save their jobs for a couple of reasons. Number one, it doesn't usually save your job. Number two, you lose the locker room. And no player in the league wants to play for a coach that isn't a player's coach, that doesn't put the players first. No guy is going to enjoy that. Bill Belichick puts his players first, but Bill Belichick also has a high standard, right? There's a difference between being hard on your guys and every time something goes wrong, pointing the finger at them. So when you get a coach that is taking those bullets for you as a player, you want to go out there and shield him a little bit, protect him, because you know what? I'm not perfect. He's also not perfect. And when he's not perfect, I need to elevate, right, and help my guy out because he's always there doing the little bit extra for me.
And what is said publicly and what is said privately are two completely different things.
Also accurate.
Hightower, as I guarantee, has been saying to his players the whole entire time to be transparent and take accountability when they make mistakes. So you know what Hightower had to do when it was his turn? He had to take accountability. And by doing that, he reaffirms with his players that he's a guy that can do that as well. And they will actually want to play harder for him because of that. But I guarantee in these film sessions, they're going over times that the players make mistakes, and they're going to point them out and they're going to work on them. However, Hightower is not the kind of guy that's going to go to the media and tell them exactly, hey, this guy's making a mistake. No, he's covering for these guys, and he did a very good job with the Travis Benjamin. Hey, I should have coached him better. I should have had him put the ball in the other hand. When we all know Travis Benjamin's a seasoned veteran, and he should know this already.
You already
been
know.
Through multiple coaching staffs, multiple teams. He knows what he's supposed to do, and he didn't get it done. You
weren't a premier punt returner in this football league and kick returner in the league for as many years as Travis Benjamin was if you're holding the ball in the wrong hand.
Yeah, I mean, to quote, from what movie was that? I just went blank on the movie. The Program. He better start strengthening his wrists.
What a quality quote.
Yeah, really. Darnell Jefferson.
All the memories are flooding back now.
Starting running back. Yeah, that's why they recruited me. Good movie. Solid movie. I really enjoyed that back in the day.
It's been a while since I've watched that.
But yeah, I think that, he took the onus, and the special teams is going to respond. I think that is a big thing in this game, and it's a big focus for everyone to pay attention to, because we all know in San Francisco that special teams can affect what happens in big-time football games, whether that is, the NFC Championship game where you lose to the Giants because of Kyle Williams, or if that is the Super Bowl in 2012 where you get the return for a touchdown to open the second half. All those things are huge moments in 49ers history. The 49ers are actually very prone to giving up kick return touchdowns in the playoffs and Super Bowls.
Accurate.
You go back and look, Chargers, return for a touchdown. Bengals, return for a touchdown. This is something that happens. The 49ers need to fix their special teams and make sure that they tidy that up. that can help overcome some of the other situations. Complementary football, field position are all things the 49ers didn't do very well against the Seahawks. Hopefully they can do that well against the Bengals.
They need to. They definitely need to. And there's a big reason as to why. It's not just it's a third of the football game. You don't want to make things any easier for Joe Burrow than they need to be. You want to make things as difficult as possible. So on punt, when you're punting, you want to pin him back, right? You want your coverage team down there, making sure you're pinning that ball inside the 10-yard line. On kickoffs, you don't want them starting past the 25-yard line. You want them starting in negative or neutral positioning and having to go that 75-plus yards down the field in order to score. The offense has a big role in that as well. The defense has a big role in that. All of those things have a big role in it, but the special teams can't blunder, right? It cannot do the things we saw this last week. We cannot see it have some of the up and down moments that it's had, especially the last 2 weeks. The big kick returns that we've seen, not the greatest things in the world. And last week, Wishnowsky had a couple punts that he struggled with a little bit, but a lot of that was because special teams in your offense turned the ball over and gave Seattle the ball in scoring position, and the Niners got 2 key turnovers in the red zone. But now your offense is starting with their back against the wall, and that makes it very hard for your punter, who now has to flip the field with his leg consistently. We don't want to have to do that. Make Wishnowsky's job easier. Move the football. Make the offense's job easier. Don't fumble kickoffs. Make the defense's job easier by pinning them back 75-plus yards. I think they're going to make those adjustments. They're going to. I mean, Richie Hightower is not just going to sit and rest on his non-existent laurels that are not there right now because the special teams has not been playing well. He's going to grind. He's going to work. He's going to adjust. And Kyle Shanahan is definitely going to be keeping an eye on the special teams this week. He has to.
Well, I guarantee he sat in some special teams meetings this week.
They got some special teams goals.
He's going to implore this team to play at a high level, and he's going to have a conversation, or you probably already had that conversation on Monday with Richie Hightower, and let him know what his expectations are for the special team moving forward. And Richie Hightower is going to meet those expectations. I have no doubt he's a classy individual and a good football coach whose team has underperformed, whether that's because there's so much movement with the injuries or what it is, but it's not an excuse. He needs to take care of business. When you're asked to do these things, you need to do it. And I think he's going to. And I have a question for you, Alex.
Okay.
Who do you think is going to return kicks? Do you think it'll be JaMychal Hasty or it'll be Travis Benjamin?
We saw this the last time that there was a fumble. Trenton Cannon fumbled, and then we saw Deebo Samuel back there returning. But then we immediately went back to Trenton Cannon. Travis Benjamin is going to be the guy punt return. He's going to be the guy kick returning. Anyway, he'll be returning the kicks. I think they'll go to a mix of Brandon Ayuk as well as Travis Benjamin at times on punt returns.
Yeah.
I think this just makes the most amount of sense right now. Trenton Cannon had his big fumble earlier this year and then has bounced back and done a very, very good job outside of that. Travis Benjamin had his big fumble now. I think he's going to be refocused. He's going to dial in, and they're going to get that ball security issue worked out. But I would expect it to be Travis Benjamin.
I think you're right, and I have another reason for that is probably the increased role by JaMychal Hasty at the running back position.
That also,
because he's going to have probably an increased role, and they do have to count on him. You have Jeff Wilson Jr. dealing with the knee. We're not completely entirely sure about Elijah Mitchell. We'll see what happens. The knee, the concussion. What are you going to have there? So you need to make sure that JaMychal Hasty is available. You can't have him getting hurt or getting tired on these special teams, because when you return kicks, you automatically go out there to play running back sometimes. So that is why my running backs hated it, because I wouldn't let them go return kicks because I wanted them fresh on down one. So
Coach, how dare you?
Yeah, I know. But Travis Benjamin's perfectly capable, and he's capable of flipping the field in a hurry with his elite speed and pretty good vision when he returns kicks. So I think you're right. I think it's going to be Travis Benjamin, but I wanted to bring that up because I think it is an interesting conversation to have leading into this game.
I think about, I don't know about half, but I would say there's some fans that are, a little anxious about that, and I understand it, especially after the fumble.
Yeah.
But Trenton Cannon turned it around in a big way. So I'm okay with this for the time being.
If he fumbles again, he's done.
One more hiccup, he'll be off the roster.
One more hiccup, and River Craycraft is going to be returning kicks.
Oh, God.
Hey, you were laughing. You were scoffing at me when I said River Craycraft was going to be up on the roster.
I did scoff.
And then you know what he did?
He came up on the roster.
Yeah.
Any chance we see Brian Hill returning kicks?
No, not week one. But maybe at some point.
Possibly.
Brian Hill's actually a pretty decent player. A very serviceable player. Catches the ball in the backfield.
I'm still stunned. Him and Ito Smith both surprised me as guys that weren't on rosters starting this year off.
Yeah, that's usually a recipe for success with Kyle Shanahan. Oh, you haven't been working on other rosters? You'll be fine here.
Typically.
It's like, do you want to play football? No, you can play on our team. And that's usually how it goes.
And he somehow gets good things out of him typically.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think he'll be fine as long as he can pick up this offense and what is expected of him. But there'll be a specific set of plans for him. But the fact that he has a base knowledge of what they can do. But I also don't think this offense is going to be predicated on the run this week. I think it's going to be set up by the pass first. So that's what's going to be important. Get out there for Jimmy Garoppolo and execute early. I would like to see the RPO game in this. You're going to have a backup linebacker in there. Get his attention. Get his eyes focused. Get a lot of movement with George Kittle and Kyle Juszczyk. We saw Seattle, when you had movement going opposite directions, they stopped, they froze. When you can get someone to freeze, that is as good as making a block. That will allow your front, your offensive line to get to those second level blocks.
100%.
Right now, they're flying with any sort of motion, any sort of pull. These linebackers are flying out of the way, so you got to take advantage of that and then get behind them. It's okay if they have to do that. Then they can cut off your sweeps and things to the outside. But then you can counter back and hit them. You just have to make sure you execute at a high level, and it has to look exactly the same. That's one of the key things. I would love to see the 49ers go with some fake tosses, with some inside handoffs, something similar to what they did with Deebo Samuel against the Panthers, I believe it was, when they got Luke Kuechly a little bit confused, frozen for half a second. Deebo Samuel gets a touchdown. In fact, the Madden simulation actually ran that exact play in the game, but to Trent Sherfield. So I would love to see something like that, get them a little off balance, and then make those linebackers freeze for a little bit.
Just a smidge. You just need a second. They got backup linebackers and potentially backup corner. With Awuzie not potentially being 100% healthy, he's dealing with the foot. That's not a good thing with potentially a healthy Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk coming into his own and getting open a lot last week. And George Kittle. I mean, that's just not a positive thing for this team, for the Bengals. So if you're able to occupy them out in space and start the game off right with this pass attack, go at them. Attack the corner, the backup corner out there for the Cincinnati Bengals, and really, get after it, you're going to open up and soften this defense a whole heck of a lot. I mean, you have to think, unless the Bengals are willing to just sit back, right? Sit back and just be like, all right, Jimmy, beat us. Paint me like one of your French girls, just one of those things out there, and let Jimmy Garoppolo paint the field with darts everywhere. I mean, maybe. We've seen teams kind of like try and do that. But really what I've seen a lot of is loading the box and trying to take the middle of the field away. Brandon Ayuk, though, is winning now. I don't know if you can do that. I really don't know if you can do that anymore, because before, early in the season when teams were doing that, BA wasn't winning. And he wasn't open, and he was catching maybe one or two balls for like 10, 15 yards, 5 yards, something like that. Now he's catching 3 balls for 60 to 90. It's just gashing people. When they try and muck up that middle of the field and let BA work over the top on corners, work deep over the middle intermediate routes with underneath crossers, and they run levels concepts, it's a problem. I don't know if that's a recipe for success for teams anymore in the league against the 49ers.
I think it's going to be what they try to do. I mean, they have to. The one thing that the 49ers, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo's got to be sitting there going, because the Bengals are one of the worst. In fact, bottom 4 in the league in middle of the field defense against the pass. So Jimmy Garoppolo is excited. He's happy about this opportunity, and that's why the 49ers need to go out and attack it. And I think if they do loosen up that middle and make those linebackers start taking that step back, they'll be able to run the football again. And it doesn't matter if it's Brian Hill or King of the Hill. They're going to be able to get the ball up there really quick. And I think all these guys can be, successful. The way that the 49ers attack it, though, is going to be interesting, because when it's JaMycal Hasty, he's not exactly a great middle of the field runner. But he is really good at cutback plays. So if you get these linebackers flying around, you can hit him with little counter plays and cutback plays to get him up the field. He's really good at jump cuts. So anything that is a zone concept where he can press to the line of scrimmage, jump cut, and get into his hole, I think those are going to be areas where they can attack in the run game. But like I said, I want to see some misdirection. Catch these Bengals flying, out of hand. Once you hit them a couple of times, they will stay home. And once they stay home, then you can outman them on the edge. You can get to what you want to do. But it's all predicated on starting it early with the pass game, getting them to kind of loosen up this box. Because if they're able to just pack it in, they will somewhat have some success against Jimmy Garoppolo over the middle of the field. But once you start spreading them out, Jimmy's going to pick them apart. He's going to find the proper windows to get the ball out. And I think he's going to bounce back from the Seattle game. I think the Seattle game is its own abnormality. I think when he gets into this one, he's going to take care of business. But they're going to have to take care of business because that Bengals offense is going to be scoring points as well.
Yes. Yeah, they're going to. I mean, we have to, as 49ers fans, you have to go into this game anticipating the Bengals to put up, I don't know about significant amounts of points, but a handful of touchdowns. I mean, I 21 points for the Bengals is not something that I look at and go, yeah, no, the Niners D can. I feel like that's a very doable number for them. 3 touchdowns. I think you're going to get at least one where Jamar Chase torches you over the top. And we've seen Jamar Chase do that multiple times. So
it won't be on Dante Johnson.
No, it won't. It probably, if anything, would be on Josh Norman, if we're being honest.
And if it's true, it's not going to be a touchdown Norman's going to hold.
True. You're not wrong, Andy.
Norman's not even there yet, and he already held him.
He's holding him right now. He's literally in his hotel room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think so, Jamar. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Yeah. 5 yards, well worth it.
This might be, absolutely. This might be a week where bend and don't break has to be the mentality for the 49ers, right? Where you see the Bengals maybe sustain some drives that you don't want to see. But once you get inside that 35, 25-yard range where you're sitting there going as a defense, all right, we're in a better position now because they don't have 40 or 50 yards behind us. We can keep everything in front of us, be a little bit more aggressive and assertive on the underneath stuff, take these things away and adjust. So as fans, take a deep breath this week because you might see the Bengals put up maybe a lot of yards or maybe just sustained drives and more points than maybe you'd like. But I think if they're doing that, and the Niners are also driving as well and putting up points and sustaining drives and Jimmy is able to deal, then the defense is going to be plenty rested. And the rotation is shown to be extremely good. I mean, Charles Omenihu, when he comes in, has been fantastic. Samson Ebukam continues to elevate. DJ Jones right now is a nightmare for anyone. Eric Armstead is a nightmare on the interior. Kevin Givens, when he comes in, there's no break. Contavious Street, when he's coming in, there's no break. Like, O-lines are not getting breaks when the Niners sub out their starters. They're getting... It's worse. Like it's just building. It's not a break. The only time I'd say there's really a break is when Bosa comes off the field and maybe Arden Key goes out there on that spot. That's about it.
You say that, but then Jordan Willis and Omenihu were almost got to the quarterback at the same time.
Yeah.
It depends on the offensive line. I think what's going to be interesting is you saw Green Bay kind of put together a blueprint on how to beat the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers was able to get out the ball with like 2 seconds. It was ridiculous. And you saw Seattle try to do that on the first drive, right? It was quick screen, it was quick out, quick screen, and the 49ers blew it up. And part of the reason was because Emmanuel Mosley was out there. Because the Seahawks went to, right after that, it was like, oh, we're not going to run quick screen anymore. We're going to start going down the field. And as soon as they tried to do that, the 49ers were getting all over them with the pass rush. So it was a pick your poison. It wasn't until later in the game where they were able to do that. So I'm curious how the Bengals try to attack the 49ers. Nobody else has been able to duplicate what Green Bay did. No quarterback has been able to get on their first read and get the ball out that quickly. Even Kyler Murray wasn't able to do that, that fast. He had to create with his legs and create opportunities. So can Joe Burrow? It's not something I've seen him do consistently. I've seen him hit checkdowns, but I haven't seen him consistently, there's the first read, I'm going to hit it for 4 or 5 yards. There's the first read, I'm going to hit it for 4 or 5 yards. And I do think he has the weapons. I mean, he does. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Boyd are all, very good weapons. He's got, Mixon coming out of the backfield. He has the weapons, but does he have the offensive line where they can actually hit those big-time shots over the top? Because the 49ers are going to get physical, they're going to get on him, and they're going to try to disguise the coverage. I think for this defense, that's what I would do, right away. We talked about this in our key matchups, is disguise the coverage and then get after him with this pass rush, whether that is blitz, whatever you have to do to make him feel uncomfortable, but collapse this pocket on top of him. When Russell Wilson had the pocket collapse on top of him, he wasn't successful at all. And I think Burrow's the same way. If you allow him to get outside the pocket where he gets free vision and you get T. Higgins' height or Jamar Chase's ability to create when the play breaks down, you're going to have situations where the 49ers can't win. And we can't have that situation. The only thing that scares me a little bit is if we start getting into these blitzing situations and we don't get home, like a couple times in Seattle, there are opportunities where receivers can go across the field, and that is tough it doesn't matter if it's Dante Johnson or Josh Norman to cover a receiver all the way across the field. That's a recipe for success against Chase and Boyd especially.
100%. And Chase has done that all year. I mean, there's been a lot of middle crossers and slants that, he's going into the second and third window in order to get open. This is something that they have definitely done. T. Higgins, not so much. Not.
But if it's a jump ball,
oh man, T. Higgins, man,
it's like a one-man cold to T. Higgins. He's the only one catching it. He's the only one coming down with it.
No, but I got to give T. Higgins credit. He is phenomenal at catching the ball in traffic. The contested catches, he's good, and it's typically not contested because he's not open. It's not it's contested because, he runs a route, it's open, Burrow doesn't find him, and then he's basically scramble drilling, and then Burrow throws it up and he comes down with it, and it's like, well, that sucks because he missed him when he was actually open, and then the guy recovers, and it's like, well, it just doesn't matter because it's T. Higgins, and he's just a big body dude who does that, and he had a slow start to the season, has been coming on, and it's a concern. It definitely is. With his size, it's always a question. Can the 49ers defense hold out enough? Can they do enough? Can the corners slow them down enough? Can the D-line get there when they need to get there? And when you send that pressure, can the pressure get home? Because if the pressure gets home, then all right, great. But pressure doesn't always get home. And when it doesn't, that leads to potential opportunities. So if you're the 49ers and you're sending pressure, what's read one? Because Joe Burrow is going to try and diagnose where that pressure is coming from and where he's supposed to go with the football. So if you can press hard on that read one and take it away, you got the right scheme dialed up, you understand the concept, the coordinator and Zach Taylor, you know what they want to do, and you jump that route and you're able to take that away from Joe Burrow. Now things just got a lot better. They got a lot easier because Burrow is a 1-2 guy. He's a half the field reader. He doesn't progress the whole field. He reads one side and then immediately starts trying to run trying to move because he knows he doesn't have a whole lot of time, and he knows right now he's not comfortable seeing the whole field and making decisions and deciphering. He's good with reading half. He understands.
Yeah.
He's really good at executing half of what the play is designed to do.
Yeah, and that's one thing I was going to talk to you about is Zach Taylor being a somewhat McVay style of offense.
True.
Will the 49ers have a lot of success? They own McVay. Will Kyle Shanahan have a similar game plan against Zach Taylor, who doesn't? He runs the 3 wide receiver sets just like the Rams. The quarterback set with Mixon, and doesn't have as good a talent at receiver position. I think Chase is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
But then all the other guys, they're not better than Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods or Odell Beckham.
Maybe Odell.
What about Van Jefferson? He's pretty good
he's
too.
coming on.
Yeah,
Van Jefferson is coming on. That's a problem.
Yeah, another one of my favorite guys
he
in that draft. But yeah, I think that I'm just curious how they're going to be able to handle it because it's going to be something they're very familiar with. And the way they handle the Rams every single time, I wonder if that's going to filter into the Bengals as well, where you get a similar style of offense, but not as aggressive as Sean McVay.
I think for one reason and one reason only, they don't have a good O-line. We have seen this. The 49ers, when teams don't have, there are certain teams that when they don't have a good O-line, it's just problems. I can think of one team off the top of my head where that's not the case typically, and that's Seattle. I don't know what it is about Seattle and their atrocious O-line, but Russell does enough against the 49ers and doesn't get sacked as much as you'd like him to.
Even though he got sacked 4 times.
He did. He got sacked a lot. This was one of the first times. This is why, even though things were going so bad, I was not this past week, like that whole game, I was like, oh, the Niners are going to win.
Yeah.
They're actually sacking Russell for the first time in as long as I can remember. Like, they'll be fine. They'll be good. And then the last drive doesn't pan out, and you're like, oh, well, shoot. But the Niners have done this. They get pressure on teams in certain types of schemes and just wreck shop on quarterbacks. Joe Burrow is more mobile than Matt Stafford, so he's got that going for him. But that O-line is depleted. They did not address it in the draft. It was one of the biggest concerns last year and last week. And the Chargers have a strength, and that is the pass rush. It is solid, whether it's Tillery on the interior, whether it's Bose on the outside, whether it's Derwin James blitzing off the edge. They have a lot of pieces, man. A lot of pieces to do a lot of different things. The 49ers, I think, have more pieces than the Chargers. And Tillery is a relatively new name for me. I literally started watching him when the Niners and Chargers played in the preseason, saw some film, was like, man, I like that guy, and started diving into more film. I was like, man, I really like this guy. This guy's fantastic. The Niners are deeper. They have way more pieces than the Chargers do on that D-line. And it was nothing but problems for Joe Burrow.
And better linebacker play.
Yes.
And
linebacker play is suspect.
And I think what's, because you would see the Chargers kind of come up with some 5-man fronts, where they would come up to the line. We haven't seen the 49ers do that.
I think last week I saw for like one of the first times since the Chicago game.
Yeah.
And it was Demetrius Flanagan-Foles again walking down.
Yeah, they do Demetrius Flanagan-Foles, and they did, I think, Hufanga off once.
Yes.
But it's usually if they're sending a blitz, they don't actually line somebody up, a linebacker up there.
I wouldn't be shocked if that's the disguise this week.
You think so?
They've put that on film a lot.
Oh, you mean with
a fifth guy,
Hufanga?
walking him down and then dropping him in coverage.
Yeah, you could drop him or you could drop somebody else out.
True.
If you bring two guys up, especially like if it's Fred in the middle or whatever, you can still cheat him out because they can, cheat him out and take away a hot route or whatever. Fred's just amazing at doing everything.
Accurate.
So I am curious how they approach it, but I think it's interesting the 49ers have been able to stop the run all year with that 4-3 base set or even the nickel. They just bring K'Wan Williams inside the box or a safety inside the box and like, yeah, we can stop you with this.
Call it a day.
It's a good thing for the 49ers to be able to do, and I think they'll be able to do it against the Bengals as well. And if they can stop that run, then it makes Joe Burrow completely one-dimensional. And if this offense is one-dimensional and you can, as a defensive line, pin your ears back, and DJ Jones, Eric Armstead, and those guys know on each snap they're going to be a pass rusher, good luck. Because these guys, if they don't have to play against the run and they can just get after you in the pass game, it can be huge. And if this game starts getting out of control and the 49ers get a lead and they're able to run and really press on these guys, and this defensive line comes out there fresh every single snap, I worry about Joe Burrow's health because these guys are going to get after him. Bosa likes playing in those areas. He's going to be back in Ohio, so he's going to want to make a statement.
Oh, he's going to have family at the game.
Oh,
I mean, he's going to be jacked.
Oh, he's going to be fired up, and he's going to get after it, and he's going to have a lot of tips and tricks that Joey just used. So they're going to have that conversation. He's going to know exactly how to attack these offensive linemen.
The brothers are going to talk and share information.
100%. And Nick Bosa is a student of the game, so he's going to talk to the rest of the linemen as well. They're all going to know how to attack these guys, what the Chargers' game plan was, and which parts of it they can implement. And we know Chris Kacerek always has his guys ready to roll. You talked about the depth. It's amazing the depth they have on this defensive line. The fact that somebody like Jordan Willis is really down the list. But it was good to see him get involved. Arden Key has more sacks this season than he had in his entire career with the Raiders. Ever since he moved inside, he has developed into something. I think that is his niche as an inside pass rusher on obvious pass downs. And maybe the 49ers just made him a bunch of money. But I hope he stays because I think he could be an impact player. Him and Armstead on the inside is just a dangerous thing on obvious pass downs.
It's stupid dangerous, man. It really is. I mean, we saw a handful of times, whether it's Bosa and Ebukam coming off of the edge because both the interior guys get double teamed and smashing a quarterback at the same time, or whether it's Arden Key and Armstead single arm swimming past a dude and meeting at the quarterback at the same time. When it comes to obvious pass downs, it's problems.
And athletic enough that it's like when they had Armstead and Buckner, where those guys can also, get to the outside if you run some sort of a stunt. Bosa takes an inside route. Armstead can loop around. Arden Key can loop around and prevent a quarterback from getting outside. Where we saw in the past, especially last year, where the guys that were inside were just a little slow on that.
Just a little too much.
I think this defense is moving more and more towards predicated on speed. I think that they want that speed. DJ Jones is a freak athlete, but that's why Zach Kerr gone. He wasn't one of those guys that was really predicated on speed. Maurice Hurst, still here, predicated on speed. Everyone they have on this roster is
fast.
Very quick, especially first step, arm over, fantastic. But I think it affords them a lot more opportunities, and they're more flexible and versatile on that line.
And here's the thing. I know early in the season, people kept talking about, too, this D-line doesn't get home. D-line doesn't get home. D-line doesn't get home. D-line doesn't get home. Each and every week, Ant, this D-line gets a little bit better and a little bit better, and the depth improves just a little bit more. And now you have guys like Jordan Willis going in and literally starting a single-arm pass rush and then dipping and swimming underneath it, coming through and getting right to the quarterback for a big sack. I mean, you have guys who are developing at such a rapid pace and are playing at such a high level now. It's like rolling a starter out there late in a football game who's fresh. And that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good for opposing teams.
Right. This is what happened in 2019, where the depth showed up in a big way, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, these guys are so good. And we got, really, really close to some of the players that they ended up not bringing back. What we're seeing is what happens when these guys work with Chris Kacerek over an extended period of time. Daryl Tapp as well now.
Yep.
They're getting them developed. And have no fear that these outside edge rushers like Samson Ebukam and those guys are going to continue to get better. Because Daryl Tapp was a fantastic edge rusher. He knew exactly how to set the edge. And Daryl Tapp and Samson Ebukam aren't too far off as far as body type and body style. I think that Samson Ebukam can continue to develop. And I like that a lot about this defensive line because we need him to eventually be that opposite edge rush to Nick Bosa because we don't know if D Ford is ever going to be all the way healthy again.
No, we truly don't. And it's sad. It's unfortunate. Things were definitely trending in the right way early in the year. I know he went down with a little bit, came back, everything looked fine, and now he's dealing with more. It sucks. It's awful. But the Samson Ebukam experiment, and early in the season, a lot of people were really ready to punt on it. This isn't working. He's a linebacker. He's not an edge rusher. This is stupid. Everyone who was a little quick to jump the gun right now, pump the brakes. Samson Ebukam is putting together one heck of a second half of the year.
Yeah, and imagine what he's going to do next year in his second year in the system.
When he's going to be the guy.
Where he understands. I mean, he didn't used to put his hand in the ground. Now he's putting his hand in the ground, and he's going to get after it. His first step is fantastic. It's only going to get better and better as he gets his hand technique and everything together. That's part of it. You can see that there wasn't a lot of technique because he did play 3-4 outside linebacker. It's not like D Ford coming from Kansas City where, he was a 3-4 outside linebacker.
But he was
the pass rusher. That's what he did. That was his skill set, even coming out of Auburn. That was what his skill set was. Samson Ebukam was a freak athlete who's developing. He's been a developmental talent since he came into the NFL, and now he's going to start hitting that. If he can get to the playoffs and finally hit his stride of where he should be, it could be major problems for these other teams. And the fact that they found with Armstead playing inside and Arden Key playing inside, it affords them other opportunities. This defensive line is really destined to be absolutely fantastic in the playoffs. Emmanuel Mosley get healthy and play on that other side. And then we can help Josh Norman occasionally, and we can prevent other teams from really knowing what we're going to do. But this defensive line is going to be the big reason why we win or lose football games.
Yes, 100% yes. They have to get after it. They have to keep doing this thing. They need to stay healthy. That is the one area where if the 49ers start losing key pieces or losing some depth and they don't have the rotation, where you're going to start having problems. It's going to start problems will start seeping from that D-line's lack of health and depth into the rest of that defense and start having issues. I mean, you just will. Them being able to get after the quarterback, consistently apply pressure, consistently put pressure on the O-line to play at a high level for long periods of time, it just wears on teams. And we're seeing a lot of teams in the NFC West. We're seeing a lot of teams just in general having O-line issues later and later into the season. That's a positive thing for the 49ers, whose D-line is deep. They don't have to rely on 4 guys for the entirety of a game, 99% of the snaps. Not like last year where you have, Kinlaw playing 90% of your snap. No, you have, Bosa playing 80. You got, Ebukam playing 75. You got, DJ Jones playing 65, 75% of the snaps. Armstead's eating up about 85% of the snaps. I mean, you got guys who are getting rest. They're getting breaks. They're getting time off the field. And that lets your young guys go out there and not only show what they've been working on, show their development, but also go in fresh and be able to go in and know that, hey, this is my moment here. Because if I start rolling, if I get on a roll here, I'm staying. I mean, they're going to roll with me a little bit. They're going to let me feed off this. That's what happened with Jordan Willis. They kept getting him in the field in the second half after that big sack. Charles Omenihu, same thing. Get him on the field. Let him work. Let him get in those opportunities in those situations. The D-line, the way it's been constructed, has been phenomenal. They have depth everywhere. The pieces are everywhere. It's one of those things where people go, well, they can do it with the D-line. Why can't they do it with the other positions? Well, I mean, not an exact science, right? Sometimes you mix and match and you put things together hoping that you're going to put together what you've found and what you've done with this D-line so far. And people, I remember thinking Charles Omenihu trading for this guy. What? Yeah. Why did we do that? I don't understand it. Well, you're seeing why.
Yeah.
The pressure rate he had in Houston was phenomenal, and what he's added in terms of being able to keep that pressure applied, whether Ebu comes off the field, whether Bosa's off the field, has been absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, there are always some positions that teams struggle at drafting. There always is. Oh, why can't we do this? Maybe the
Patriots and receivers?
Yeah, maybe it's the 49ers and corners. I mean, that is a possibility. And if it is, go sign some free agents. I mean, that's the thing. If you struggle...
so J.C. Jackson from the Patriots needs to be signed to San Francisco.
Maybe. Sometimes what you do is, if you struggle at a position you evaluate, you either bring guys in that evaluate that position really well, or you go out and get proven commodities to play those positions, and you draft other areas where you're very successful.
True.
They're finding their model. They're finding out what they can do. We're going to see how these other guys develop. But, yeah, it's something that every team deals with. You brought up the Patriots with the wide receivers. As good as Bill Walsh was as a player evaluator, he struggled at positions too. People forget that Roger Craig, he wasn't a running back coming out of Nebraska. He was a fullback. They drafted him, and then he played fullback for the 49ers for the first part of all the years, and then they developed him into a tailback. But Bill Walsh wasn't great at drafting running backs. He had to go out and sign other people. So sometimes as a player evaluator, you just gotta do what you gotta do. But I overall like what the 49ers are doing, especially on the defensive line. The Charles Omenihu trade was fantastic.
Absolutely.
And it created some opportunities for the 49ers. And I think that now, more than ever, Eric Armstead moving into the inside has proven to be what they need. and what he's the best at.
Is this going to be is this now the long-term solution? Because I've thought this for some time, that this was maybe and it wasn't because I didn't think Armstead could play on the edge. It was just, I thought the speed on the interior could be not only a problem on pass rushing downs, but also on standard downs. Do you think this is the long-term solution for Eric Armstead?
It all depends on the value of DJ Jones. Because if you're bringing DJ Jones back, you want situations where you put Nick Bosa, DJ Jones, Eric Armstead, and Javon Kinlaw on the field together. And if that is not the case, if you have gotten to that point where, then who's the backup? Is it Kinlaw? Is it DJ Jones? Who is it that's not coming on the field? Because Eric Armstead is going to be on the field, whether he's playing defensive end or he's playing defensive tackle.
True.
So it creates a little bit of a logjam there. And I think everyone believes that they should bring back DJ Jones. The question is Samson Ebukam a defensive end now that you can't have off the field? I think right now it's still not. It's still Eric Armstead can play on the outside on early base downs, but I do think they like the edge being a speed guy. I won't even be shocked if they don't bring somebody else in as well. You can never have enough guys on the edge, and that's not to mention that maybe Charles Omenihu is somebody that could develop into that base guy too. Javon Kinlaw, you better get healthy, or you're gonna be a backup. I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. DJ Jones is playing at a Pro Bowl level. Eric Armstead is playing at a Pro Bowl level. Nick Bosa is playing at a Pro Bowl level. So there's one spot, and you know what? You don't play defensive end. So I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Technically two of the guys you named play D end. But if he's not better than Ebukam, if he's not better than Omenihu, he can't stay healthy. Then yeah, I mean he starts fading.
He's more talented than all of them.
Oh, 100% agreed with you.
He physically,
it's health.
It's physically he's more talented than everyone but Armstead and Bosa.
Yeah. I had to think about the Armstead. But as of right now, yes.
Well,
you are correct.
I don't care if he's bigger and stronger than Armstead. Armstead's technique and things are through the roof. Yeah, it's fantastic. And Armstead, in my opinion, is farther along in his development at this stage in his career than Kinlaw was.
Agreed.
Kinlaw is bigger. He's stronger. I don't know if he's faster. He's close. But Armstead's a better football player.
I think the only benefit that Armstead has is that Armstead didn't get hurt until year 3. So he had his first 2 years to develop and he was healthy. Kinlaw hasn't had that.
Armstead also started playing a 5 technique.
True.
He was a 3-4 defensive tackle for the 49ers. Same thing he played at Oregon. So was DeForest Buckner. They were 5 techs where Kinlaw is not. He's playing the 3 tech. And that's the thing. If you have Armstead playing on the front, Armstead's your 3 tech. That means Kinlaw's moving to the 1 technique. So it does change the way you play defense, and it changes his position. Is he a nose tackle? I don't know, but I mean, I hate to say it, but you start thinking, is he tradable? If you're bringing back DJ Jones, I mean, I know you got Kinlaw on that contract, but is he tradable? And I don't think he is right now with the injuries.
He's not right now with the injuries, but I think the 49ers feel like I don't know if they think it's too early, but I think year 3 would be too early to make that decision. I think year 4 is the year you make that decision.
Do you think DJ Jones can beat him out?
100% yes.
Yeah.
And that's I don't like being able to say that with ease.
I think DJ Jones is improving every single week and getting better.
I mean, DJ is showing exactly why we missed him so much.
I was so surprised they were able to bring him back.
I'm stunned.
I really thought he was going to go somewhere else.
Well, here's the thing. With the season he's putting together right now, and we bring him back next year.
Maybe not. I mean, financially, maybe not. Maybe you have to let him walk. But I would say secretly they're trying to work on a contract extension right now.
They should be. Yeah. They 100% should be in.
I think they're going to try to work out a way to bring most of these guys back.
Let's do it.
Especially on the defensive line. I think that's going to be something they're interested in.
49ers, let's operate like the salary cap doesn't exist.
They're still going to operate like it exists. The problem is they're going to save money in other areas.
Accurate.
Yeah. But they have a lot of cheap contracts this year.
It's true. A lot of cheap contracts. But look, the D line is the central focus right now of this defense. It is the heart of this defense. It keeps everything going the way it does. It hides some of your weaknesses. I mean, we've been saying this since pre-draft, and we've been saying this since season 1 of the 49ers cutback, in which we talked about the defensive line is the identity. It covers up the holes at the cornerback position. So you don't have to have the greatest corners in the world. You just need to have corners who can cover long enough. And that's what we need this weekend. We need corners to cover long enough so that your pass rush can get home, do what it needs to do, make Joe Burrow absolutely hate his life, make him sit there and go, you know what, I want to have season-ending surgery right now. I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fun. I'm not enjoying this. Go get me some offensive linemen, and then we'll try this again next year. I don't want Joe Burrow to get hurt, but I want the 49ers to make him suffer every time he drops back to take a pass, and the Niners offense can put some points up on the board early, take care of that football, special teams doesn't make turnovers and do things like that, shoot themselves in the foot, then you're looking at a potential big lead for the 49ers and forcing Joe Burrow to, hey, you're going to need to throw the football, got to get back in this football game.
Yeah, it's a bounce back week. I mean, go in there and handle business. Put your foot on their throat early in this game. Don't hold back. Don't hesitate. Go in there and roll. I think Kyle Shanahan is going to go in there and want to set the tone early in this game. I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to want to establish himself. He doesn't like what happened last week. There's a sour taste in his mouth. Mm-hmm. There's a sour taste in this entire team's mouth because they felt like they were rolling, and then they went to Seattle and they basically dropped one there. And it's unfortunate, and it's kind of like disappointing. And I think that they're going to bounce back in a big way in this football game. I think they're going to handle business, but they have to execute. It's all about execution with this football team. To quote Vince Vaughn in Wedding Crashers, there is no room for error in this one. You have to make sure you go out there and take care of business and execute at a high level. If you do, you will beat the Cincinnati Bengals because you are a superior football team to them. If you do not, they will beat you because the Cincinnati Bengals are good enough to do that.
They're talented.
They're a team that's building, but the key matchup is going to be DeMeco Ryans confusing Joe Burrow in this game.
That disguised coverage.
And I think that they're going to understand the concepts that Zach Taylor wants to use. Kyle Shanahan's very familiar with that style of offense, and so is DeMeco Ryans, being that he's been a part of it for a long time. So I think that is an advantage for the 49ers.
Huge.
Can they take advantage of it? That's another question. But hopefully they can. With it being 125 Pacific time, I think that does go to help the 49ers as well.
I agree with you on that. And Cutback Crew, let us know what you thought about the game plan potential for the 49ers against the Bengals. Are you ready to see the 49ers turn this team back into the Bungles? I know I am. I know Ant is. And hopefully you are as well, Cutback Crew. Comment down below. Let us know how excited you are, what you think the key matchup is, or how you think the 49ers may attack offensively or defensively. And while you're down there, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and head on over to Patreon so that way you don't miss the All-22 film preview of the Bengals versus the Chargers from this past week, where you can see the Cincinnati Bengals struggle early against the Chargers. I mean, when I say struggle, I mean struggle. Go down 24-0, and then climb all the way back into a 24-22 just to give up 17 straight points after that and get blown out at home by that Chargers team. You can find some ways maybe the 49ers can attack and also maybe feel better, because maybe you're worried coming into this game. Maybe you can feel a little bit better after watching that film and get ready for Sunday.
Yeah, I'll be tuning into that. I will not be on that one.
True.
Some life things are happening.
Accurate.
But I am going to tune in and watch, how you break that down. It's going to be good. I watched the last time you did it by yourself. And
it's never the same. You know, it doesn't have the same energy.
Yeah,
but
it's still enjoyable. There's like an aura coming from your setup that you got going there with the red light and all that.
Yeah, they did that on purpose.
Yeah, it's
so I got to add the extra pizzazz because I don't have your pizzazz.
Yeah, thank you. It's wonderful. Yeah, I enjoy it. I really do like the insight, and I like watching the All-22 film. So if you like watching that, get into it and just see what how the 49ers could attack, and if they do, that way when you get there, you don't think Kyle Shanahan's calling a bad game.
Yeah, I mean I
think they're going to fire on all cylinders. Don't expect any tweets to say that's a bad game.
I will still expect the tweets to say it's a bad game plan, or whatever the nonsense will be that will exist. Also, we need content for Big Yikes, so those people need to.
Oh, don't worry, there'll be big yikes. The 49ers could win by 60, and there'd be big yikes.
Accurate.
The 49ers should have been doing this all year. Yeah. What were they doing? If they would have done this, we would have won by 60 every time.
This is why you need to fire Kyle Shanahan right now. He doesn't understand.
I hope not, but yeah. There is a section of the fan base. There's a huge portion of the fan base that is on board with the 49ers, on board with Kyle Shanahan,
and a good chunk of them are right here.
Oh, I would say almost all of them are right here, which I love. But yeah, there's a small section of people that are still trying to yell at that mean ocean and still very upset with any sort of success.
Well, here's what I'll tell those people. If you want to be on Big Yikes, you're going to have to yell a little bit louder, because the people we've been featuring on that Mean Ocean segment and have been screaming. They've been screaming at the tip top of their lungs. It's almost impossible to ignore them. So for those of you who are yelling at the Mean Ocean, pick it up a little bit, son. I'm a little hard of hearing over here. Going to have to compete with the rest of the noise and the rest of the Cutback crew who isn't yiking and putting themselves on Big Yikes.
Takes.
Oh, they're having incredible takes and enjoying this football team and enjoying the ride of this season, which has been a ride. It has been up, it has been down, as we now look to climb to the peak. And we want to get to the tippy top of this roller coaster and then have it drop, after a big Super Bowl win, as we coast into the offseason. That's what we're looking forward to. We'll see you on the next one, Cutback Crew. And until then, stay safe.
Remember, the right way
is always the 49ers way.